Hello there. How are you? And welcome. My name is Gary, and I'm a concept artist. I'm an illustrator. I write. I do a whole bunch of other things. And I like to make YouTube tutorials for other artsy types of any level. I welcome you all. So welcome in. Come in and sit down. Have a seat. Today, children, I'm going to be walking you through an illustration from start to finish in the magical app known as Procreate. So let's get started. My big cool trick for this one is that I only use one brush. When I'm in Procreate doing a black and white piece for my book, I only need one. And it is one that you don't even have to pay money for. It's called the Graphite Shading Brush, and it kind of does a little bit of everything. Man, I love that textured, crunchy, traditional look. Okay, so to start with that, I'm going to grab my graphite shading brush and start exploring these big shapes and poses. I set the brush to be fairly large, not super large like I would use for shading, but there's just no need for details at this point. So after I have a really rough and kind of janky looking loose sketch down, I'm going to darken the tone on my brush and just start getting a little bit tighter on the details. So these imps are more tribal species, at least my version of them. So they have, you know, the blowgun and a pouch of paralyzing darts, which, I mean, every kid should have. They're so fun. They're a little bit more tribal, so their clothing is minimal, and there's just enough to cover their shame. And now comes the fun part of roughly blocking in light and shadow. That's a good book. I don't always know where my light source is going to be. I kind of sometimes invent it, figuring out what works and what doesn't. But it's fun to play around with. I don't go too dark at this point because I'm just like a kid in a candy store. I'm just playing around, and I'm just trying to get a good sense of where to place everything. But once I have that established, then everything below the line art, I flatten that all together, select it, see what I did? You select that layer, and then you create a new multiply layer over the top of that and fill that with another medium gray tone. It darkens everything above it. Above the tone, you know, you get it. All right, well, don't judge me. I'm sorry, I try my best here. Trying to talk like a good adult. What does this multiply layer do, you ask? Well, I can't speak. I'm having trouble speaking with my words a lot. It helps me to establish my darks a bit more fully, and then I can go in on a new layer and start painting light onto dark, which is what I wanted to do in the first place to help establish, like, you know, our values a little bit more easily. Now with the imp mostly finished, it's time to draw his little bat buddy. And aside from the Batman logo, I've never really drawn a bat before, so I have a basic rudimentary understanding of what their anatomy is, but accuracy is everything. So I find as much reference for bats as I can, and I just drag it into my file. I don't want any guesswork. I want to have a bat that looks like a bat. The process for drawing the bat is exactly the same as the process I used for drawing the imp. Super the same. It's a rough block in, rough line, refined line, base tones, yada yada yada, rinse and repeat, and you're golden. It takes me an embarrassingly long amount of time to realize that this bat, while anatomically correct, is so boring. It's so boring. I even try to like frame the pair with the graphic shape, as you can see, with the circle behind it, which I use in the final one, but it just feels like a stiff illustration because there's no movement to the bat. He's just sitting there on the ground like a dead bat. And so I find it's necessary to commit the ultimate sin and kill my little bat while I still have time. And I'm still in mourning, but little bat, I barely knew ye. Anyway, I keep moving forward with the imp because I have no idea what to do for the bat. So I keep refining details and whatnot until I figure out how I'm going to implement the bat yet again. And then it happens. I get struck by the obvious. Bats fly. Draw a flying bat, you dummy. Bleh. So I change the ratio of my illustration so that instead of vertical, it's horizontal. And again, I find reference for bats in flight. Reference is key, kids. Professional artists use references. So, soon enough, the previous bat murder is a distant memory. And the new layout begins to take shape. The new layout? I feel like I said that like Zoolander, but you know what I'm talking about. Now I go in and using my reference, I'm figuring out the new light source, in which case, the moon. Because bats and the moon and Dracula's got nothing to do with it, but you get it. And I mean, I want to illustrate this as best as possible, so I put imps on the bats. And then there's more bats, and I need more bats. Bats everywhere. Bats silhouetted? Bats silhouetted against the majesty of the moon. With the imp in the foreground, I painted a bit more edge light on his back so that he actually like matches a little bit the lighting of everything else. Lastly, I paint details on the moon, because it ain't just a flat shape, kiddos. And over everything, I add a color dodge layer, and I start emphasizing some sections of the light, as you can see. Another artist has already taken over the whole color dodge thing, so I'm not going to get into that. There you have it. There you have it, a whole illustration from start to finish with one single brush. And if you like what you saw and you want to see more, come on back. I'm going to be doing these videos more frequently than I have in the past, and I would love to have you here. You'll find links to the book and to the brush down below. And thanks for, tuning in to all my goofy shenanigans and ballyhoo. Come back to the next video, and I'm glad you guys showed up. Okay. We're done. We're broken up. Get out of here. Good stuff. This is solid entertainment here.